Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Charlie. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my homemade Louisiana fried chicken with dirty rice from scratch. Now, let's start with the fried chicken. Fried chicken is basically any type of piece of chicken, whether it's a leg, wing, thigh, or breast, is coated with some kind of batter. There's all different types of variations of batter that people make. They coat that chicken with the batter, and from there it's either deep fried, pan fried, or even air fried, or even pressure fried. I don't know how, but fried chicken is known all over the world. Everybody has their own take on how they fry chicken. It is closely associated with the American South, particularly within the African American community. Now, as for the dirty rice is a Creole dish that originated in Louisiana, and the rice gets its dirty brown color from being cooked with little small pieces of chicken gizzards and chicken livers. Now, it is also referred to as rice dressing as well. Now, the difference between dirty rice and rice dressing: dirty rice is made with the chicken gizzards and the chicken livers, and rice dressing is made with the ground beef and the ground pork. And sometimes it could be interchangeable. Some people do the mix the ground beef and the ground pork with the chicken livers and the chicken gizzards. You know, it's made all different types of ways. Now, this recipe serves between 4 to 8 people. I made quite a bit of dirty rice, you know, and it calls for about 8 to 10 pieces of chicken as well. So it's a pretty big meal. You could serve quite a few people with it. Not only is this one of my favorite meals, but it is absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all what y'all gonna need to make y'all Louisiana fried chicken with dirty rice. Let's get started. You will need 3 pounds of chicken. This is 4 chicken legs and 4 chicken thighs. You can also use chicken breasts and chicken wings, but I prefer you use the chicken legs and the chicken thighs, alright? And along with that, you're gonna need 2 pounds of chicken gizzards, 1 pound of chicken livers, all-purpose flour, salted butter, canola oil. This is 48 fluid ounces here, 4 large eggs. You're gonna need any type of long grain rice. I'm gonna be using jasmine rice. And for y'all seasonings, you're gonna need 1 yellow onion, a bunch of green onion, celery, green bell pepper, red bell pepper, and some garlic. And for y'all additional seasonings, you will need some salt, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Now, if you don't have this, you can use the Zatarain's Creole seasoning or the Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. Chef Paul Prudhomme's Portrait Magic. Now, if you don't have this, you can completely omit it from the recipe. Onion powder, garlic powder, some paprika, cayenne pepper, black pepper, dried thyme, and these 2 ingredients right here is optional. I'm going to be using some crab ball and some Creole mustard. It could be by Zatarain's, it don't matter. And for y'all tools, you're going to need a slow cooker, and this is a 7-quart slow cooker by Crock-Pot. Now, you can get the best possible chicken stock with your gizzards in your slow cooker, alright? And along with that, you're going to need a food processor. If you don't have the food processor, you're just going to have to chop up the gizzards and the chicken livers by hand, alright? And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. We're going to start by chopping up 1 yellow onion. There's a lot of work and preparation to do here. We're just going to chop that up really good. Here we have some green onions, and we're just going to chop this up. And you're going to make sure you chop up the ends to your green onions as well. Alright. We're going to rinse off our celery. Make sure you rinse that off good. And you're going to chop 4 stalks of celery. Here we have a green bell pepper. We're just going to rinse that off. Make sure you remove the core out of the center. And we're going to chop this up. Make sure you chop that up really good. Here we have a red bell pepper. We're just going to rinse this off. Make sure you remove the core out of the center. And we're just going to chop this up. Here we have 4 cloves of garlic, which is actually 2 big cloves of garlic. And we're just going to chop that up until it is minced. Alright, let's get started on our chicken. We're going to add our chicken pieces into a strainer. Now we're going to rinse our chicken pieces off with cold water. Now I like to do this step as a precaution, just so that there are no blood or any particles that might be on the chicken. Alright, now we're going to take some napkins and we're going to pat the chicken dry. And if your chicken has any type of excessive fat, you just take a knife and trim that off. We transferred our chicken pieces into a large bowl. Let's add some seasoning. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 2 teaspoons of Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poetry Magic, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of crab ball. That's optional. If you don't have that, you can use the cayenne pepper. You just add a 1/2 teaspoon of that in there. A 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, and 4 tablespoons of Creole mustard. Could be by Zatarain's, whichever you prefer. Now you're going to take your hands and you're just going to coat those seasonings onto the chicken pieces. Alright, that's looking pretty good so far. Now we're going to cover this with a lid. You're going to place this into your fridge for about 2 to 4 hours, or if you're a patient guy like me, you can let it sit overnight. Alright, we're going to add our chicken gizzards into a strainer, and we're going to rinse our chicken gizzards off with cold water. Now we're going to sort our chicken gizzards, make sure that they're all good to go. But if your chicken gizzards have this yellowish greenish skin on it, just peel that off. You don't want that on the chicken gizzards, because when that's cooked, it's really tough. Alright, now let's get started on our chicken stock. We're going to set our slow cooker to high. Now we're going to add 1 quart of water. You can reduce this to a 1/2 quart if you like, if you want a stronger chicken stock. Now let's add some seasoning. Sprinkle 1/8 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poetry Magic, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. Now we're going to take our spoon and we're just going to give this a quick stir. It's going to give our stock a wonderful flavor with all those seasonings. Now we're going to add our chicken gizzards in there. Just add it all in there. Now we're just going to give this a quick stir. Now we're going to cover this, and we're going to let this slow cook for about 6 to 8 hours, or if you're a patient guy like myself, I'm going to let it go overnight. Now we're going to preheat our fire to medium-high heat. Now let's get started on our rice. In a medium-sized pot, we're going to add 2 quarts of water. Let the water come to a simmer. It's at a simmer now. We're going to add 2 cups of rice. Now I'm going to take my spoon and give this a quick stir. Now we're not trying to cook the rice, we just want to parboil it until it's almost done. Now we're going to let this simmer for about 4 to 6 minutes. It's been about 4 to 6 minutes now, and our rice should be ready to go. 4 to 6 minutes is all you need. Don't overcook it, because it will come out gummy. Now you're going to turn your fire off. Now we're going to add our rice into a strainer. Now we're going to rinse our rice off with cold water. Now remember, your rice is not all the way done here, alright? Now at this time, you're going to take your strainer and place it back on top of your pot, and you're just going to cover this, and you're going to let this sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. And we're going to add this later for our dirty rice. Alright, let's check on our chicken stock. Me, I let mine go overnight, which took about 12 to 15 hours. But 6 to 8 hours for you should be done. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our crock pot off. Now we're going to add our chicken gizzards into a strainer with a medium-sized bowl underneath it. It's looking pretty good. Now we're just going to remove the chicken gizzards from the the strainer. Now we're just going to place that on the side, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, homemade chicken stock made from scratch. Now we're going to preheat our fire to medium-high heat. We're using a cast iron skillet today. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of salted butter. We're just going to spread that around our skillet and let that melt. Now you're going to add 1 pound of chicken livers. Just add that in there all at once. Now let's add some seasoning. We're going to add a half a teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, a half a teaspoon of Chef Pauperdon's Fortune Magic, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm just going to take my spatula and give this a quick stir. Now you're going to let this saute for 8 minutes, stirring occasionally. And while you're stirring it, make sure you take your spatula and break down some of those pieces of chicken livers and you'll be good to go. Alright, once done, you're going to turn your fire off. And you're going to set this on the side and let it cool for about 10 minutes. Alright, in our food processor, we're going to add our chicken gizzards. Just add that in there all at once. Now we're just going to cover that. And we're going to pulse this for about 12 times. And that's really all you need. Just pulse it for about 12 times. And there you have it. Our gizzards are nice and grounded. Alright, now at this time you're going to add your chicken livers. Chicken livers should be cool till warm. Just add that in there. We'll make sure all that's grounded up really nicely. Now we're just going to cover that. And we're just going to pulse this for about 6 times. Shouldn't take long at all. And there we have it. Our chicken livers are nice and grounded, ready to go. Now we're going to preheat our fire to medium-high heat. Now let's get started with our dirty rice. In a large saucepan, add 5 tablespoons of salted butter. We're going to spread that butter around our saucepan. And we're going to let that melt. Now let's add some seasonings. We're going to add 2/3 cup of chopped yellow onion, 1 cup of chopped green onion, 2/3 cup of chopped celery, a half a cup of chopped green bell pepper, a half a cup of chopped red bell pepper, and 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic. Now we're just going to stir all the ingredients together. Now we're going to cover this and we're going to let this saute for about 12 minutes, stirring occasionally. It's been about 12 minutes now, and as you can see, our seasonings have cooked down some. Exactly what we want. Alright. Now we're going to add our grounded chicken gizzards and our grounded chicken livers. Now we're just going to give this a quick stir. Now we're going to add some more seasoning. Add a half a cup of chopped yellow onion, a half a cup of chopped green onion, a half a cup of chopped celery, a half a cup of chopped green bell pepper, a half a cup of chopped red bell pepper, and 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic. Now we're just going to give this a quick stir until combined. We still ain't done adding the seasonings. Alright. Now we're going to add a half a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 2 teaspoons of Chef Pauperdon's Fortune Magic, 2 to 3 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 to 3 teaspoons of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper or crab ball, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. Now we're going to take our spoon and stir all the ingredients together. We got a little trifecta of seasonings going on here. We got seasonings, seasonings, and more seasonings. Gotta love it. Now we're going to cover this and we're going to let this saute for about 12 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, it's been about 12 to 15 minutes now. Now you want to make sure that you lightly scrape at the bottom of your saucepan. They have a lot of brown stuff down there. You want to get that up. That's nothing but good flavor. That's going to combine with the chicken gizzards and the chicken livers. Now once done, you're going to turn your fire off. And you're going to set that saucepan on the side. Now we're going to preheat our fire to medium-high heat. Now in a large pot, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of salted butter. We're going to spread that butter around our pot, and we're just going to let that melt. Now at this time, you're going to add your grounded seasoned chicken gizzards and chicken liver mixture. You want to make sure you taste that to make sure it's at your desired taste. If not, you can add more seasonings. Alright, now we're going to take our spoon and just give this a quick stir. It's looking pretty good so far. Still with me, y'all. We're almost done. Now remember that rice that we parboiled? Just add it all in there all at once. Now we're going to give this a quick stir until combined. Now we're going to add a half a cup to 1 cup of chicken stock. Now we're going to give this a quick stir. Now that rice is going to absorb all the flavors from all the seasonings, the chicken gizzards, the chicken livers, the chicken stock as well, and that's going to give us a wonderful dirty rice like how you see here. And there y'all have it, ladies and gentlemen, homemade dirty rice made from scratch. Takes time, a lot of steps, but well worth it. Now let's get started with our fried chicken. We're going to preheat our fire to medium-high heat. In a medium-sized pot, we're going to add 48 fluid ounces of canola oil. Now if you're having a deep fryer, preheat it to 375 degrees, and you may need to add oil according to your air fryer's instructional manual. Now you're going to let this get hot for about 12 to 15 minutes. Now before we fry our chicken, make sure you have a cooling rack ready to go. Now if you don't have this, you can use a regular serving dish lined with napkins. And we're going to place our chicken on that once it's finished. We've added 4 large eggs into a medium-sized bowl. Sprinkle 1/4 teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 1/4 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poetry Magic, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now we're going to take our whisk and we're going to stir all those ingredients together until combined. Now let's begin our all-purpose flour batter. In a large bowl, add 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 2 teaspoons of Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poetry Magic, 2 to 3 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 to 3 teaspoons of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper or crab ball, whichever one you prefer, and 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. Now we're going to take our spoon and we're just going to stir this until combined. Now the golden rule when it comes to frying chicken, leave nothing unseasoned. That means season everything. And we kind of got like a little trifecta here. Same with the dirty rice. We have the seasoning of the chicken, the egg mixture, and the all-purpose flour batter, like how you see here. It's going to create us some great well-seasoned fried chicken. Let's get started with frying our chicken. We're going to take 1 chicken leg and 1 chicken thigh, and we're going to add it in our seasoned egg mixture. Now we're going to coat that chicken in with the seasoned egg mixture. Now we're going to shake it to remove some of the egg mixture off the chicken, as we want a light coating. Now we're going to add it into our seasoned all-purpose flour batter. Now we're going to cover this with a lid, and we're just going to shake the bowl to coat that chicken with the seasoned all-purpose flour batter. Okay, now we're going to remove the lid, and we're going to remove the chicken out of the all-purpose flour batter. Make sure you shake the chicken to remove some of the all-purpose flour batter, as you want a light coating. And now you're going to add it into the hot oil. Now you want to fry at least 2 to 3 at a time. Don't overcrowd it. Now frying times vary depending on the size of the chicken. I have a chicken frying chart in the upper left hand corner, and use this as a guideline. Alright, now it's been a couple of minutes now, and as you can see, our chicken is starting to float at the surface of the oil. That lets us know that our chicken is almost done. Alright, now chicken legs and chicken thighs take about 15 minutes total to fry, and after 15 minutes our chicken is done. Look pretty good, nice golden brown. Now we're going to take our chicken and we're going to add it onto our cooling rack or serving dish lined with napkins. Now once done, you're going to let this cool for about 5 minutes before serving, and after that, meal is complete. Here is the final presentation. And there you have it, Louisiana fried chicken with dirty rice, made from scratch by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. You can also check out this recipe, along with all of my other recipes. Visit www.charliethecookandrews.com. You can also find me on Facebook, and on Instagram under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Can't wait. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. Oh man, fried chicken and dirty rice is one of my favorites. I haven't eaten fried chicken and dirty rice in about 8 years. I'm talking about the meal. I haven't eaten it in about 8 years. I don't really eat it too often. So this is a special treat for me. Look at that. Now it's time for the fried chicken. This dirty rice is really good. You got the flavor of the chicken gizzards and the chicken livers and those seasonings that we've added. It's really, really good. And that fried chicken, nice and crunchy on the outside, nice and juicy on the inside, and it makes a big difference when you marinate your chicken overnight, because that marinade is gonna go in all inside of the chicken and marinate into the meat. It is really, really good. I'm telling y'all, try the recipe. It's really good. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and until next time, have a good one. Peace.